Okay, all right, how's everybody doing? Great. You guys are all fired up from the college bowl game here, or what? Let's go. Get excited. We got a lot of energy with those guys, so we're ready to go. Exciting time of the year for them. So obviously, congratulations to both teams. That's, those are fun. Those are fun in college to be able to do that and bring your team to that stuff. So, okay. I mean, obviously we're, full speed into the Bucs right now, trying to learn this team, learn what they're trying to do. Coach Aarons is doing a great job of building this team, putting guys in positions to make plays. It's definitely an explosive team. You see guys just kind of flying all over the field, making a lot of plays, a lot of great players out there, both sides of the ball just coming up big, especially here late. So big challenge for us from that standpoint. We're going to, dive into the early down stuff for us today. We're going to walk through today in the indoor, kind of maximize our rep count when we do that. Obviously coming off a physical game on Sunday. So we'll give the guys another day of rest here, especially late in the season, try to get recovered and get ready to go for Sunday. So take questions, go from there.
When you play a team like the Bucs, a quarterback who gets a lot of turnovers, how do you prepare for that? A guy that's going to throw it to both sides.
Yeah, I mean, I think he puts a lot of touchdowns up too, so we got to just make sure we get that stopped first and just capitalize on those opportunities if we get any of them, from that standpoint. Certainly, we always work on the fundamentals of that stuff, whether it's the ball out on the ground, how do we recover it, are there bodies around, is it open space when the ball's up in the air, high pointing the ball, how we're going to catch it, kind of some of those different details of the fundamentals of trying to turn the ball over. But certainly, our first and foremost job will be trying to prevent those big plays that they're hitting downfield.
With Marvin out, who do you see have an opportunity to, be the next man up?
We've had Chris Lacey out there. He's been active for the last couple of weeks too. He's rolled through from the wide receiver position. So, we'll put a little bit more on his plate as we go, and then we'll kind of see how this looks towards the end of the week. We'll do the best job that we can to put whoever it is, whether it's a wide receiver, another skill position, whatever that sort of game calls, to try to make plays. So sometimes it's maybe not as obvious as just a simple wide receiver change out. Sometimes there's different things you can do to try to make sure that you're maximizing the productive players on the field.
Asked about the defensive line yesterday as it pertains to the run defense. Obviously, they're really good in that regard, but what kind of problems do they possess as a pass rushing unit too?
Yeah.
You rush five a lot, do a lot of one-on-one matchups, and then obviously you have Shaq on the outside who's having a terrific season. Just the problems that they present from a pass rushing standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're doing a great job. That system, that scheme, one of the things they like to do is bring five. It's kind of one of their base calls, really, from that standpoint. Bring both edge rushers and JPP out on the edge. He's got great length, great speed. He can kind of get there. Coach Bowles does a great job of just mixing those all up. I've known Todd for a long time. He's done a great job with, 5-man rush, 4-man rush, 5-man rush with match, coverage, man coverage in the back end, some zone pressures, things like that. So I think that's one of the things that's really helping maybe kind of the marriage of the rushing coverage that they have going on defense right now, where they're stopping the run, putting the teams in some negative situations on early downs, getting into some longer situations on second down and third down, and then being able to really kind of get after the quarterback with the pass rush. But they'll mix the schemes from that standpoint. You're going to see a lot of carryover from last week too. There's some tie-ins to the double mug pressures and some of the different packages that they have there. So it's not always just the five guys in the front that rush. They'll bring linebackers and secondary players too, and try to just confuse the quarterback as much as they can. Very aggressive from that standpoint.
One more on Barrett.
Yeah.
He's a guy that was a pretty good player in Denver, but he's doubled his sack total from his 5 seasons in Denver in this year. I mean, is it strictly a scheme thing, or is there something you see that's wildly improved in his individual performance? Yeah,
sometimes that happens. Certainly guys, they just, whenever the light bulb comes on, or they just become a little bit more productive. Sometimes it is scheme, depending on where maybe some of the other attention goes to in the protection systems. Maybe it's just opportunity, and I think he's maximizing his opportunity. He's getting, some good rushes off the edge. He does a good job of kind of getting off the ball. He's got a great first step. He's got a really good dip under move where he can just kind of bend, turn the toe, and get into the middle of the pocket pretty quick. And he's got a great motor to go along with that. So I think he's just maximizing those opportunities. And certainly, however you want to look at it, whether it's down and distance situations, package situations, maybe attention being drawn elsewhere. I think he's just doing a great job of fitting, his role into the scheme and trying to be productive. So, you see some of the skill set, you see it show up and where he wins those one-on-one battles, and you see somewhere scheme-wise, they're doing a good job of getting those matchups. So I think it's a combination a little bit.
Matt, the past few weeks, you've talked about seeing the improvement of young players in the next few games. You've also used the word process. Would it be fair to say that this is another word process for a rebuild? Is it fair to say that the Lions are going through a rebuild now, or is that unfair?
I don't know. You can divide the English language however you want. I think for us, you know me, we're just trying to get better this week. We got a lot of young players out there that are trying to get better. And certainly for us, I think every season is a process. I think every season you start over in the NFL. That's something that, I learned a long time ago. Each team is different from year to year. There's always changes that are involved there, and you got to do the best job you can to build. And those guys that are kind of your core players that, stay with you, you hope they improve and they can grow as leaders and kind of, build off of them. That's really what we're trying to do. So for us, it's just building. It's just building upon, those things that we've been able to do that's been consistent, and try to, eliminate those things that are inconsistent.
It's not a process like Philadelphia did basketball,
Another guy.
Hang on, let me get David first.
And Dominic Sue, you haven't seen a lot of him this year, but
Yeah.
we know what he is here just
Yeah.
from being, just a dominant player. The
Sure.
numbers aren't quite where they were, from early in his career. Is he still as effective as a player? Is he being used differently? What do you see in him on tape?
Well, they have a lot of guys that they kind of use in different roles over there, but certainly he's still big, long, explosive, powerful, all those things, and I'm sure he'll be extremely fired up to come here and play. So I would expect to see all of that. He's a great player. He's really powerful. He's a guy that can get in. He's playing inside, can get on those guards. Can get back into the center, can push the middle of the pocket. He's got great length. He plays with good pad level. It's a big challenge to block a guy like that, and certainly a guy like that draws a lot of attention. So you're making sure that a guy with that sort of skill set doesn't disrupt the game. From that standpoint, you're going to put some guys on him to make sure that he doesn't do that. So he's seeing a little bit of that too.
Paul said yesterday that Aouarier knows what he needs to do to work on going forward. What do you want to see from him in these next 3 games? Is there specific things that you're looking for his improvement?
Yeah, we're obviously, trying to improve on some of our performances week in, week out. I would say with Amani, he's done a great job of studying, great job of learning, and I think he's flashed some really good plays that we see, that skill set that he has. For us, it'll be being consistent, and I think, the more that he has those opportunities to play and be in a lot of situations instead of maybe play in just one particular situation, there's the whole facet of the NFL game that he's still trying to learn. So the situational awareness, maybe some of the different tips and tendencies based on early down, which may be different than third down, some of the different sort of things that we say are, we got to do in this situation, and make sure that the game isn't moving too fast for him in that avenue. When you have young players, you try to build slowly with that and get into mid-season play or intersect from that standpoint and move pretty quick on them. We got to try to get that, make sure it doesn't go too fast.
Similar question about Tracy Walker. He was really active last week.
Yeah.
And obviously when he's been healthy, you've used him in those matchups against some of those better tight ends you've seen. Is that the long-term role you see for him, and sort of what's the next step for him now?
Yeah, I think, for Tracy, obviously lost a little bit of time there with the injury and trying to get him back into where he feels like, he's able to do all the different things that we've kind of built into his resume here in the last year. I would say for us, very active last week, did a really good job in kind of a couple different spots that he's been in. As far as his role going forward, we'll week by week from that standpoint, based on where we need and what's available and what the other team does. But certainly we always want to try to learn to be in multiple positions and helps us as a defense.
Just going back to, you say you can put different guys maybe at different places. You only have 3 active. Do you pretty much have to call a receiver up, even just from a depth and, if one guy goes down situation?
Yeah. We'll evaluate it when we get towards the end of the week. I think we have some guys overlapping kind of flexible position guys that like we've been in situations before where maybe we're practicing different guys in different areas, and they're kind of ready to go in emergency situations. Maybe we feel comfortable with that, and then like I said, we'll try to evaluate it when we get to the end through practice and figure out what's going to be best for us for the game.
So does it almost become like a little bit of a mini flexibility tryout for guys like Bolden, Kennedy, and Fulham in some ways to kind of see?
Yeah, I would say, I don't know, tryout or flexibility, but part of the things that we want to do when we, allow them to be flexible within have a situation where we might need somebody, you have to learn multiple roles in order to be available to help us, or it's a singular role this week. They have an opportunity to go compete in those situations. So we try to do that from the start. And then, like I said, use the next couple of days to figure out what's best for the offense overall. And, there's ties into special teams too. Will kind of help us on the 46 to see what's best.
Just as it relates to Amani, Melvin did not play last week. Was that injury related? No, was that injury related? Is Amani your starter? How do you,
Yeah, Melvin's played all year. He's really stepped in. He's a tough guy. He works with a situation injury-wise, and I think he feels good. I think where he's at, and we're kind of able to just push forward from that standpoint. Okay, appreciate it. Yep.